Sri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Sri Sadguru Paramatmane Namaha. Sarva Maharshibhyo Namaha. The Lord describes the nature of distracted mind. 42nd sloka. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipaschitaha vedavadaratah partha nanyadastiti vadinaha. 43rd sloka. Kamatmanah swargaparaha janma karma phalapradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishvarya gatim pratihi. 44th sloka. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya prahutachetasam vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadhau na vidiyate. Substance. O Arjuna, the unwise utter flowery speech, taking pleasure in the laudatory words of the Vedas, and say that there is nothing else but pleasures and enjoyments, either here or in heaven. They are full of desire, with heaven as the highest goal, leading to new births as the effect of their own karma, and they engage themselves in a multiplicity of specific works of the purpose of acquiring enjoyments and prosperity. The mind of such men, which are drawn away by attachment to pleasures and wealth, cannot be concentrated to remain fixed in the ecstasy of divine contemplation. Commentary. Flowery speech. Some flowers appear attractive to the eye, but they do not bear fruit, and as such, they are finally useless. The works prepared with the desire do not bear the fruit of moksha, which should be the aim of all spiritual seekers. Utter. This word is used to show that these men loudly proclaim that enjoyment is heaven is the highest aim of man. They are men of little knowledge. Naturally, empty vessels make much noise. Ignorant men. These are unwise men, those who perform rites and rituals for the sake of enjoying the pleasures of heaven are spoken of as unwise men. So, however learned and versed in the Vedas a person may be, he is still an unwise man because he is not able to know the truth and fix his mind on the supreme reality. The verse is intended to open the eyes of such persons who have learned much but whose mind dwells on the lower levels of desires, pleasures, and enjoyments. The Lord condemns at every step sense pleasures either here or in heaven. Those who take pleasure in the laudatory words of the Vedas. In the Vedas, the first part is Karma Kanda, which deals with the rites and rituals of the fulfillment of earthly and heavenly pleasures. If you perform this ceremony or this sacrifice, you will get this reward. This part of the Vedas is all absorbing to worldly men. They cannot think of any other thing higher. So they declare that Karma Kanda alone is the highest among the Vedas. There are three parts in the Vedas. First one is Karma Kanda, second is Upasana Kanda, and third one is Gnana Kanda. The unwise cling to the first part, act neglecting the other two, which are gradually of higher and higher value. The teacher of the Gita declares that this is a wrong attitude because it is not conducive to spiritual enlightenment. Mind filled with desires. Those whose minds are filled with desires are Kamatmanaha. They are slaves to 100 desires for wife and children, for name and fame, for power and position. Whether these are fulfilled or unfulfilled, their minds are restless. How can divinity find a place in the hearts of such people? Desire, kama, leads to anger, krodha, when frustrated. Only when the heart is purified of all this foul and filthy stuff will God reveal Himself in the sanctuary of the human heart, desirous of enjoyments in heaven. Those who consider heaven, Swarga, as their highest goal are Swargaparaha. The spiritual seeker sets no value on Swarga and all that it offers by way of pleasures and enjoyments. On the other hand, those who discard them as worthless stuff are alone qualified to attain freedom and perfection. Of course, the luxuries of heaven may be more beautiful and captivating than what we find here, but they are subject to the same laws as we find here. They are subject to death and dissolution. They end in time. Heavenly pleasures are worthless from the point of view of spiritual realization also. If it is foolish to think that heaven is the highest goal of mankind, the highest goal for man is to know and realize the eternal truth. Everything that comes short of it is of no consequence to the spiritual aspirant. Heaven is not the goal, for when the punya, good done by man, is exhausted, down he falls from heaven to the earth. So there is nothing that should draw mankind towards the pleasures of heaven. They are also intended to satisfy the animal instincts of man, like food and sex. Of what use are they for the aspirants? An understanding of the earthly pleasures will help us to know that heavenly enjoyments would be like and how short lived and wretched they are to satisfy man. It is the height of folly to spend the whole lifetime merely for the sake of attaining heaven by performing elaborate sacrifices at great cost and labor. There, the main aim of spiritual realization was forgotten. Therefore, the Lord directly attacks heaven, seeking ritual ridden religious men, and teaches them that they are slaves to their own desires, and with such distracted minds they can never hope to remain fixed in the ecstatic contemplation of the self, which alone confers immortality and eternal bliss, leading to births as the result of their works. The present birth is the result of past work, karma, and the work one does now leads to the next birth. So, endless the cycle goes on. This is samsara. The aspirant hopes to reach a state when the cycle stops forever and attains to a condition of supreme blessedness from which there is no fall. To attain this state, the Lord prescribes the law of Nishkama Karma as the rule of conduct in this world, having innumerable rituals to obtain enjoyment. The Karma Kanda in the Vedas mentions various rites and rituals, ceremonies and sacrifices which yield different enjoyments here and in heaven. Men who are bound by desires are simply drowned in the ocean of Karma Kanda. They cannot come out of it. One desire leads to another, and at no time will these desires end, for they are almost infinite. This is what we find in man's limited experience and worldly life. So, the spiritual aspirant should cut at the root of desires and burn it up into cinders. He has nothing to gain from karmakanda. The aim is to root out desire from the heart and to become pure, so that the sanctified heart is at once filled with the blessedness of the Lord. Then alone is man fully satisfied. There is nothing more for him to seek for eternal contentment. Eternal renunciation comes to such a man. drawn away by that. Almost the whole of mankind, with the exception of rare personalities, are absorbed in the task of getting some reward or enjoyment from their worldly activities. The spiritual seeker should keep away from such men. He should associate himself with men of renunciation, purity, and knowledge. Cannot be concentrated in divine contemplation. Such men whose minds are disturbed by desire cannot get one pointed concentration on the eternal. Desires crop up and draw the mind off its balance. Pleasures and pains upset the mind constantly. Like a lake, when a storm blows over it, it is agitated. Waves rise and fall, and the whole lake to its very bottom is in a state of commotion. Such will be the mind of a man who is obsessed with the thoughts of worldly enjoyment. He can never hope to get the necessary serenity and concentration to fix the mind on that what is the ever blessed reality. So give up desires is the Lord's command.